Yo, JD here, Limitless, and as you can see, we are back on F1 2021 as always, and today we are here at Abu Dhabi for the final race of the BRS season. You can see pretty stacked lobby here. Definitely be getting a lot more sweaty drivers join next season, looking very, very good. But before we get into that, just want to say a special thank you to some new extra rotation members of Dende09, Rex, Vertas1, Razor, and Monk. Thank you so much for joining the extra rotation club. You will be getting a priority invite for open lobbies, which will be back this week finally. A permanent discount on one-to-one coaching through coachlimitless.com. Access to more upgraded setups and many more features. So thank you very much for joining that. But moving back to this now, we are here at Abu Dhabi for the finale of this BRS championship, and it's been a pretty good season. A lot of inconsistencies with the drivers joining and leaving, mainly because of the state of this game when it comes to online. But here now you can see some very, very tough competition, and 4 tenths away from ETE Rusty, who seems to be the man with the pure pace at the moment. So really looking forward to next season there, as we actually have a £200 prize pool for next season as well. I think we have about 50 drivers trying to get into the tier 1. So it's going to be even more sweaty, but really looking forward to the challenge of that. But this is my actual medium lap that I did, which was probably the best lap I did overall in the qualifying. So I'm going to try and start on these medium tyres, because I do think it's a lot more beneficial starting on these tyres. So you can see here now, going down the straight, and the lap is a pretty decent lap so far for it to be on the mediums. So going through the chicane, a very, very difficult one, and I think Rusty set the fastest time with a 39.7 so far. So definitely the man to beat when it comes to the qualifying. We go through here with a 58.0 middle sector, which is not too bad with these medium tyres. And now coming into this last sector, probably my favourite sector out of all of them. Really takes some precision to get the car through into here, going through under the hotel. Unfortunately, we don't have, as you would have already realised, don't have the updated track as they did in the Fly. That would have been absolutely great, but next year we will certainly be looking forward to that on F1 2022. Coming across the line is a 35.0, just over a 10th behind Rusty. And I was pretty satisfied with that. We actually decided to stay on those many times. Didn't want to improve the time. And it's a good job that we did a 35.0, because a 0.2 wouldn't have been enough to get through. So 4 people managed to get through on the medium tyres. Probably the 4 quickest on raw speed. So our first lap is a 34.5. And like with many tracks, as Rusty puts in a 34.1. Like many tracks, we really struggle with the 1 lap pace, and that is definitely the case around this track and the majority of tracks I do. I'm definitely much more suited for race pace, and that's what I really prepared for this track, along with tracks such as Brazil, where we managed to take the win last time out with that very, very intense final lap against A Mercy. So around here I knew that probably the likes of Rusty, Radionics, Placky, those kind of guys that will probably be beating me, as Rusty puts in a 33.9 now, which I know that I'm probably not going to beat. I think the best I was hoping for would be like a 34.1, something like that. So because we're quite a bit nicely up on our time so far. So coming through into chicane, managing to navigate through this actually pretty well. We gained a bit of time on the entry, but lost a little bit on the delta on the exit. And now this chicane, you have to absolutely nail the curb on the inside. Coming to, says we've gone purple. We're less than a tenth down on Rusty, but then you can see we're less than a tenth down. So it was mainly the last sector where I was losing a lot of time to him. But even without improving, we managed to still secure third, which is very important because Rusty and Radionics, they're going to be starting on the medium tyres as well. And a lot of soft runners behind. So very crucial that we try and stay with these guys in the race as much as possible. And my plan was to do a 2-stop strategy in this race from going medium to soft and then soft. So that was the plan. As we've got 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights here for the final race of this BRS season. Trying to get a good start. We get a pretty good launch compared to Rusty. Radionics gets an absolute insane start, but Placky on the soft tyres trying to go around the outside here. We're going to leave him just enough room. And very similar to Brazil, we want to try and keep these soft runners back as much as possible, really, because we just don't want them to get track position. So I'm going to try and keep that strategy under control. And on this first lap, it's just making sure that you get through nice and smoothly. But Radionics having an absolutely amazing start to take P1 here. It looks like he's actually starting to push already, as Placky is probably going to be in a bit of a hurry to get past me. So I'm not going to defend. I was hoping he wouldn't go down inside. So he was thinking about it here, which causes me to break a little bit deep into the corner. Let's see if we can get a good exit. These softs are going to be pretty good for the first 5 to 6 laps in this race, and I'm having to use quite a bit of my ERS. And the wings I'm using here are 10 11 wings, so quite high downforce. And I really wanted to make sure that it was built for tyre wear, because you definitely need it around this circuit. So coming into here, we're dropping a little bit off the leaders, and I wasn't driving particularly well at this stage of the race. Usually I get better as the race goes on, and here I was coming under quite a bit of pressure from Placky, so I'm having to use a lot more ERS than I would really like, because I think the front two are pushing quite hard themselves, trying to position my car nicely so it would make it very awkward for him to actually overtake me. But yeah, I was struggling on these first few laps, and you can see the gap as well. Gap is about 6 tenths. Radionics, looks like these guys are definitely trying to push, and I'm still coming under attack from 2 FRA guys, but Placky being on the softs, the closer one to me at the moment. And you can see we're going to get the benefit of the DRS, but he's tucked right into my slipstream. Don't think I was a particularly fast car in a straight line, because as I said, I was really focused on trying to improve my tyre as much as possible. Braking on the curb going into the corner, so that's really unsettled my line here. Looks like he's going to get a good exit, so he's right up behind me once again. And this is exactly what I don't want to do. I hate using ERS, especially at the start of a race, because it can at some tracks, and especially since we're using higher wings here, it's going to take a few laps, or quite a few laps, for me to completely recoup that energy. So being pressured by Placky is just forcing me to use this ERS, because I don't want to give him this track position. I don't want a car between myself and my rivals on the same strategy, of this mean strategy. But as you come out of this left hand corner, you're about to see here first sign of maybe a little bit of wheel spin, and this is why I've gone for that really high downforce setup, where towards the end of the race, towards the end of each stint, that's where I'll be at my strongest. So I'm going to be quite vulnerable in the first part of here, and again making a mess of that chicane, which results in Placky getting another very good run of me. But we're positioning our car very nicely, not going fully defensive, but not going on a full racing line, makes it for a very, very awkward overtake. And this is something I've actually learned from people from defending with me, against me in open lobbies. When people do that, it makes it very, very, very hard to pick a spot or where to go. As Rusty has overtaken Radionics, looks like he's trying to break that gap now, because he had so much more pace this race. As the virtual safety car comes out, are we going to get a full-blown safety car? Yes, we do, because normally that is the case. And now we have our first safety car of the race. So what do we do here? Do we continue, or do we go into the pits? And Radionics actually continues. Rusty goes into the pits, and I suspect most people will probably be going into the pits. So we'll go box, and we're not going to go for a hard tyre, because we could easily go to the end of the race on the hard tyre, but it's a very, very slow tyre, and I still wanted to use some softs at the end, because the softs against old hards would probably be about 3 seconds of that faster. So although you might lose a lot of track time and track position, just the pure speed of the tyres will make it very interesting. And we've actually come out in 4th place because I suspected most people pitted. So Rusty ahead of me is on the hard tyres. It looks like he's going to try and go to the end. But then the 2 guys ahead of him, they're on old mediums. And I promise you, a lap fresher tyres around Abu Dhabi, tracks where the 2-stop is a viable option. It makes a huge difference when you're on a lap fresher tyres, believe me. And you will be seeing that as we go further into this race. So coming up here, Alex gets a really poor exit, allows Rusty to get the position on him. So I'm going to try and follow Rusty through as much as I can, because what I need to do, if I want to beat him this race, I need to get past Rusty and build a gap. And then when I come out in the softs, if there's no more safety cars, then I wouldn't have as much gap to close down. So I'm going to try and really get a move on here. Looks like Placky and Arch have done the same thing as me. So they've both gone on a new set of meters, which means we 1,000,000% have to pit again because we haven't changed the tyre compound at the moment. So Alex, you know, forcing him to go a little bit deep into his corner. So he is on about 5 lap old medium tyres at this moment in time. So no DRS available here. It's absolutely crucial that we get past it. But as we pull out into this corner, a really awkward braking zone, and yeah, the reference point is the 100-meter board. I couldn't see it because of the car in a way, and I was just so focused on just out-braking Alex, and that was just completely my mistake. And to be honest, it wasn't really needed at this time here. Although I was in a rush, still could have maybe waited another lap or just another better overtaking opportunity. It's always very awkward when you're side by side to someone and there's another car very close ahead of you.
I feel like I got damage.
And it said it didn't have damage,
so much.
but you're about to see in a minute as we run really wide here.
Yeah, it's definitely damage.
We're about to check as we go through into this turn 1.
Oh, I want to ask Jeff, but Jeff, shut up.
And on the exit of this, you're about to hear.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was amazed that there wouldn't have been any damage. But yeah, the way we hit him into the side pod, we've got a very slight damage, which will cost you around half a second a lap. It is fairly significant. But as we come through into here now, car is completely lost as well. So we just go into the pits, and the safety car has now come out. And that was absolutely perfect timing. Absolutely perfect timing. And I decided to pull the trigger on that because I had damage anyway. And the safety car, with that guy crashing on the last corner, it was pretty much almost inevitable that there's going to be a safety car. So we decided to take the risk. And this is a big brain that's pulled off at the moment. We had to change that wing, so we've got a new front wing now. Now we don't have that understeer. And let's see what we can do coming towards the end of this race. So as we skip towards the next lap here, we put on the hard tyres, but I decided, because a lot of people put on softs, I've decided to actually box for softs. So when I said the lap fresher tyres was significant, it really is, because to do 11 laps on the softs it's possible with the durability of the tyre.
I have no mediums and MG for life. Thank you for the donation, bro.
It's possible with the tyre wear, but the performance of a difference of 1 lap is really big. It's almost half a second a lap when you get to the latter stages. So I decided to pit again because I was already in 11th. I thought, why not just lose a few more positions? A lot of people have penalties ahead of me as well. And let's try and get the freshest soft tyres out of everyone on the grid. So current periods here, I'm not particularly close, and I'm really trying to look after my tyres, because the more I can look after my tyres, on the last few laps, I should be so much faster than everyone else up ahead of me. So I'm not in a particular rush here right now. I'm just going to try and babysit these tyres as much as we can as we're trying to get past this ghost, which is very annoying that the AI always get in the way here. Coming through into here, just going to try and get a nice exit, and you're about to see the grip of these tyres. Really good traction, using a bit of the ERS on the exit as Jake Scott then weaves. And it's quite clear that he's decided to let me go, so we decided to turn off our ERS very early. You can see the straight line speed difference. He really lets me go into here, so I really appreciate that. Good sportsmanship and respect from him. Doesn't need to do it, but appreciate it nonetheless. And yeah, we've got to try and conserve our ERS as much as we can, because since we're running quite a high downforce setup, it's going to be depleted very quickly, and it's going to be very hard to recoup it. So Alex Yeno ahead of me has a lap older soft tyres than him, and you can already see the difference even at this stage, and it's just that gap between the tyres are just going to get more and more. So I know that he's a guy that definitely likes to defend, likes to get quite racy, fast driver as well. So I wasn't using much of the ERS. So I saw an opportunity, and you can just see with the pure traction of these fresher softs that we were thinking about going for a move here, deciding to think a bit better of it. And you can just see the grip for the corners with the high downforce we have and those lap fresher tyres. It really does make a huge difference. And no, if we stayed out on the hards, I think the hards are just too slow, and by the time the soft tyre runners tyres worn out, we'd be too far behind. So we really had no option but to go on these set of tyres. But as I said, we should have the fastest tyres from now towards the end of the race, and you can just see already in the corners how much more grip we actually have with these tyres. So coming into here now, trying to get a really good run coming through into this corner. Go nice and wide, nice and tight on this exit. DRS is enabled now, so go try and get him in a straight line, but he does have the DRS, unfortunately, from the car up ahead, and he goes defensive. We're going to go around the outside. He isn't going to make this particularly easy for us as we go around the outside to get the inside for the left, and he turns very early, so banging wheels going through into this corner. And now I know I need to get past him. I've already committed with the ERS, so I have to get this move done, checking that there's no damage. And now we get the move done on Alex coming through into this chicane, and now we live to fight for another day. So we're going to check our tyre wear on the exit of this corner, and see it was about 13% there. So now we're catching up to the back of EXR Ollie, who is on the medium tyres, and you're about to see the traction we have of these fresh softs. So powerful. Trying to get the inside line, because we'd have to drive a little bit further around the track to go around the outside, get down the inside, and again, someone who doesn't really particularly want to make it easy for us, but we leave just enough room for chicane. We leave room on the inside. He tries to go back down the inside, just about getting the move done. Nice fair racing, nice hard but fair racing, and now we are now up into P10 this race. So coming behind Luciano and MSN Scarlett here, and both of their red lights are flashing. I saw this opportunity to get two cars in one, so we go down the inside of the Alpha. He lets us have this corner. Luciano isn't going to get the DRS on the exit since he already passed the Alfa Romeo there, and now I knew he was low on the battery power. This is red light will probably be flashing at this stage, and now we've got two cars in two corners, so making good progress. Patience definitely paying off here, as AMS Fairley and Radiolix don't seem to be playing the patient game up ahead. And Radiolix, he's on the softs as well, but all these guys on the softs ahead of me, I know have a lap older soft tyres than me here, so I knew that was the case. You can see how much grip we're actually closing in on the corners. There's another safety car now comes out, and what do we do in terms of the strategy? Very difficult question. So coming through into the penultimate corner, see some people are boxing, but you thought, you know what, the safety car is going to be out for 2 or 3 laps. It's going to be no DRS until really the last couple of laps. Let's just stay out. And now we're back into P2. So Radionics is in P1. I'm in P2. Luciano has also stayed out, so that's a good thing. But Placky and Rusty, they are on brand new soft tyres. And yeah, this is going to be a challenge, but I thought we had no other option if we pitted, we would have come out maybe 6th or 7th. And with the DRS not being available for 3 laps, so we've been caught a little bit napping here. It would have been very, very hard to win this race or have a chance of winning this race. And it's the final race of the season. I thought, why not go for a little bit of gamble with the strategy? Luciano's already been passed by Rusty going into turn 1. So that's exactly what we didn't need. But we do have a lap fresher tyres, then Radionics, and you will start to see that come into play here. But the benefit we have on our side is that we don't have the DRS enabled for another few laps. Only on like lap 27, 28, it's where it's going to be enabled. But fresh softs, 6 lap fresher softs, it's going to be well over a second a lap faster at this stage. And you can already see Placky, as Placky was the one who actually got through. Placky is right behind me like he was in the first instance. So we're going to be as aggressive and defensive as we can. Try to do a Sergio Perez here, but the grip he has in these tyres, we really are fighting a losing battle here, and you can see the traction he has. We're absolutely no match for him. However, we do have Rusty behind, and we also have Kimmy behind. So no, we've taken the gamble here. We're going to try and fight as hard as we can to keep it, because I knew I could get Radionics. I knew his tyres would be absolutely dead at the end of the race. So my target was to try and get a podium, see how much grip Rusty has on these fresh tyres. But we're going to try and put a car in the right place. And as I said, at this stage, these guys probably have a second a lap advantage on the tyres, if not more than that. And you can just see we have absolutely no answer to the traction of Placky and Rusty up behind, who are looking in a box seat to becoming a 1-2 in this race. Using the ERS here because I didn't want to get overtaken coming here. So I'm going to try and keep him behind as long as I possibly can. Just try and just do anything I can to hold this position. See, Placky gets a pretty of a poor exit. I'm going to try and attack him going into here, but not quite going to make it happen. And we're just going to try and wear down these tyres as much as we can to go a little bit defensive. Placky goes down the inside here, so we try and get a good exit alongside Radionics, making a little bit of contact. Wheel banging going down this straight. No DRS enabled still, and you can see we're a little bit lacking in a straight line because we want our tyres to be in as best shape as possible. So going about middle of the track, so giving Rusty no options for the overtake. Coming off this car, trying to get his best exit can. You can see compared to Radionics, we get a good exit, but Rusty, with those tyres, gets an absolute superior exit using the slipstream from Radionics, positioning our car in the middle of the track. So again, giving him no options. He tries to go around the outside here. Isn't going to happen going into this chicane. So again, this is something I really did learn from open lobbies. Just positioning your car in the middle of the track really doesn't give many options to the car behind in terms of overtakers. And going in, we've been pushed ever so slightly. I broke up my normal point, but I think Rusty just went in with too much speed. And you're about to see with the Delta, he actually has a penalty now as well. I believe he's actually picked up damage because of that. And if you get a slight bit of damage on this game, then that is you over. It looks like he's actually decided to box.
Does he have damage?
Because he's got a 3-second penalty. Everyone's so close together. As you can see, Radionics really, really struggling. So this is the difference between a lap fresher tyres, and you can just see we just have so much more grip than him at this stage. Although it's only 3 to 4% more, it's just so much difference in performance. Although it's durable, performance-wise, it is absolutely huge. So looks like Placky is going to go off and win this race unless he has a catastrophic failure. But we do have these soft runners behind me, so I'm going to try not to use the ERS, try and keep as much as you can, try and overtake Radionics going into here. So I actually want to be ahead of him, because if I didn't overtake him to this corner, I would have been at risk of being overtaken by Kimmy. And you can see he's already back on pass. But Kimmy, what on earth has happened to him here? Absolutely carnage here, and trying to give Radionics a slipstream, and no, Placky has completely checked out. And you can see the difference in the power and the performance. You'll be able to see how much that gap actually goes up here. Now we have 2 soft runners, 3 fresh soft runners behind us, and we want to try and stay on the podium after being last at one stage, taking a bit of a gamble with the strategy. we somehow find ourselves in P2. And you can see we've lost a second in this last sector to Placky. That just shows you how powerful it really is. So right now, it looks like we have an impossible task of keeping this podium or P2. P2 would feel like a win right now, but we're going to be doing our absolute best. And this is why you should never, ever give up on a race, no matter what happens. So coming through into here, can we go flat out through this corner? Yes, we can, but you can see he's almost pushing me down this straight. So coming through it, he tries to go down the inside here for some reason. I'm not sure why he tried to do that, but figuring anything that's actually cost him a bit of momentum. So coming off this corner, my game plan was to let him go down this straight, but get as close as we can, compromise his line for the next ERS straight. So I'm using the ERS here. I'm not going defensive because I want him to overtake. So I'm pushing him to the inside, make him go in deep. We try and get a much better exit. 6 out of different tires. He gets a poor exit. You see, he still gets the traction though. But we have some ERS to play with. His red light is flashing. Let's see, we go a little WT inside, go into the racing line, and then we go back into P2, going into the chicane. There's nothing he can do here, and we played that so well. The gap is 5.1 seconds now, so well over a second a lap again that we have lost here, and I don't think there's really going to be any overtaking opportunities going through into this final sector. But you can see again, he's almost pushing me round here. And if we can somehow pull off this P2, see, he's lost a bit of traction on this exit. Placky is going to go ahead and win this race. So GG to him. And coming across the line, GG. We managed to come home in P2 after taking that risk with the strategy. A bit of fortune, but also a lot of risk involved as well. And that concludes this BRS season. Just want to say massive thank you to the league. It's been an absolute pleasure to be a part of and to race with everyone here. I really look forward to next season. £200 prize pool. Very competitive drivers joining, and it should be a very intense season before the release of F1 2022. So thank you so much. Streams will be back with league racing in early January. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas. Thank you so much for the support on the channel. And here are the final championship standings. Look forward to the next one. Go to Coach Limitless for one-to-one sessions, which I have released for January now. And I will catch you very soon. Peace.